Send us some video clips.
All right, I'll try. If they will allow me to do videos in there.
Yeah.
But
If
it's
there
good.
are videos, share it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they enjoyed the sip and paint. Man, they don't stop sending messages in the group and all of that.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm happy
Well,
that.
I don't think anyone else is gonna join, but I said on the group we're going to talk about ways of coping with feeling lonely when you live alone.
Oh.
Bearing in mind that living alone doesn't necessarily mean you feel lonely.
Yeah.
Or feeling lonely doesn't mean you always feel lonely, but when you do feel lonely,
yeah.
what do you do to cope with it? What do you do to manage it?
All right. So I am here right now, but I won't be here.
Yeah, but you can watch the video, because I'm saying I'm sure some of your senior citizens, they live alone.
Yes.
So
no,
you can, if you're not, you can.
None of them are not alone. They are home with families.
Okay.
The only senior is alone. She lives with her husband, who is also a senior. So, and I involve both of them, because both of them are coming with me tomorrow too.
All right. That's even better.
Yes.
Even better. Yeah, but also the idea of loneliness is not necessarily strictly
being alone.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can feel lonely when you're with people.
Yes,
like,
that's true.
If someone, like this month is also Domestic Abuse Awareness Month, so it also is important to be aware that somebody who is living with an abusive person can feel even more lonely than somebody who is living alone and feeling safe. I did a video on my TikTok this morning where I was holding a plate of food saying I survived domestic abuse and now I can eat whatever I want whenever I want, because domestic abuse is not just physical. Some people will manipulate you and will withhold money from you, will withhold
yes, there's so many different ways of.
They will put you on a hunger strike that you haven't started. Oh, right. Someone says they're not hearing me. I was saying that loneliness is not strictly physical abuse. Domestic abuse is not physically being abused, but it can be emotional, psychological, and people who are
cursive and all different kinds,
people can withhold money from you, knowing you have no money at all, and then you're not able to feed yourself. People can withhold food. So that video that I did was just saying, as it is Domestic Abuse Awareness Week, people need to be aware of what domestic abuse is in the first place, because there are a lot of people who get abused and don't know they are being abused because the form of abuse they are experiencing has been normalized. And there are also people who abuse and they don't know they are abusing because the form of abuse they are perpetrating has been normalized. So they actually believe they have a right to do what they're doing because that's what they grew up seeing. Maybe that's the reason, or that's what they've been taught. I mean, I've heard some men saying, if you're not doing this to your woman, that means you're not a man. You're not showing your. You're not saying this to your woman, it means wears the trousers. You know, people say sneaky statements like that to corner you, things that you shouldn't be doing, so that you feel like you're the. And then as well, there's women who do the same thing. People will say in these little friendship groups or whatever, they will say things like, oh, if your man does this, change the door locks so he can't come in. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes it's about correcting the thing that's going wrong rather than blocking it. Because if you just block it without dealing with it, one day if that person finds a way in, he's going to be like a cornered dog. He'll bite.
Yeah.
These are some of the things that people don't actually realize, that it creates loneliness. I can give you the advice, oh, change the door locks so he doesn't come in. And then you change the door locks, you lock him out of your life, but that means you're also locking yourself into yourself, which means you are alone, not because you want to be. So that can make you feel lonely. I guess what I'm saying in a nutshell is you have to find a solution long-term rather than a temporary instant relief, which doesn't last long. And I think this is one of the reasons people say, oh, why do you keep taking him back? Or why do you keep taking her back? Or why do you keep going back? It's because the way you're living, the situation has is not properly planned, and you actually don't have an action plan after you've left. Because a lot of people focus on leave the bastard, leave the idiot, leave the this, don't stay. But they don't talk about what do you do after you've left. You still have to leave. You still have to survive. If this person was your source of food, shelter, anything, provider in general, and you just randomly leave, you have to think about, where am I going to go? Where am I going to stay? What am I going to eat? What am I going to wear? You know, and when you leave randomly and you sit and are faced with these things, then you start to realize, actually, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. And a lot of times those people that are told you to leave, they do not want you in their house. They don't want to help you. So you might leave thinking, oh, I have supportive friends who are telling me I should do this, I should do that, and then find they step back once you've left. And actually, in a worst case scenario, some of them will start laughing at you after you've left, will start blaming you after you left. Now, I'm not saying stay, I'm just saying have a strategy, have a plan, so you don't end up away from abuse and fall into the trap of loneliness. Because at times it's just as bad as the other. And talk to somebody who knows plans that work. Talk to a therapist, talk to a coach, talk to a counselor, seek organizations that help with loneliness, join Phoenix Empty Nesters Creed, and, have a support system before you actually move out, before you actually walk away, before you actually leave, that kind of thing. And with some people, it will be a matter of divorce even. And divorce can be a scary, long, painful journey. And it can be lonely as well, especially if you think of it from certain cultural perspectives. There are certain cultures that believe once you are married, you do not divorce, you do not leave, you do not walk away because it's a taboo thing. So you will feel lonely if you brave living an abusive relationship from that perspective, that then people are going to blame you. People are going to say you, instead of saying you were right to remove yourself from abuse, they will say it's your fault. You walked away from a person that was providing for you, from a person that was feeding you, sheltering you, clothing you. But those things are not nice if you're being abused, if you're being manipulated, if you're being coerced, if you're being psychologically tormented. You will feel lonely within that relationship, and you will feel lonely when you leave without a plan. So loneliness is a broad topic. It's a broad, and sometimes you can feel lonely together with somebody. You can be a couple that's been together for years, and as you've grown older and you've stopped working, you've retired, and you don't actually have a plan of what you're going to do with your days now that you're not working. If you were both working, obviously the day started with preparing for work, and then you spend the day at work, and you come back home, you have stories to tell from each other's workplaces, each other's day away from the house, and now you're all of a sudden in the house together 24/7, and if you don't have a plan, you can start to both feel lonely while you're together, and this is where then when you find some couples start bickering about nothing and everything, start arguing about nothing and everything, and you start picking on each other's little faults that you were able to tolerate when you had time separately, when you had time away from each other at work. You came home full of stories, and that time away from each other was time that made you miss the other. But now, if you're together 24/7 and you don't have activities to do, and you don't have places to go, and you don't have friends to take you away from each other here and there, and as you all know, as you age, some things become difficult to do. So you're finding maybe the things that you used to quickly do for each other have become a bit of a problem. And so now it feels like a job or like a chore. And you start bickering over nothing, really. You could both feel lonely in your own two different ways. And I think these are areas that a lot of people don't actually recognize. A lot of people don't actually have the bravery to spell it out, that I'm feeling lonely. Yes, I don't live alone. I'm with somebody, but I'm feeling lonely. Or some people will use words like I'm feeling neglected or ignored, uh, or not appreciated and stuff like that. When if you have an open conversation, you could find that maybe they're feeling unappreciated because the person that they're doing this for is in their own lonely zone while you're in your own lonely zone. So, yeah, generally speaking, those are the things that I was thinking about when I came up with this topic. I don't know what you guys think.
All right.
Man, I think she's having network
Yeah.
problems.
I don't know if you ladies can hear me.
Yeah, we can
Yes,
hear
we can hear
I'm
you.
just seeing mouths working.
Mouth moving.
Just seeing mouths working. You know,
If
I
you
know
can't
Perry
hear.
talking, but I'm sorry I can't even hear what she's saying.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Can you hear Althea?
Can you hear me? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think she's hearing anybody.
Oh, okay.
I'm not hearing anything. I'll see I'm out moving, very mouth moving.
Oh.
Boy, I'm jealous of your corn that you're eating. Oh, you hear me? Good. So you hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm gonna text because she can't hear us.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing.
House and why coming back. We can hear you.
Not hearing. All right, so I don't know. We can hear you loud and clear. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you. All right, so I am gonna log off and get ready. I'm not hearing that while I'm getting ready. I can hear. Not hearing. I think it's a network because at first it keep kicking me off and on. So maybe it's a network problem. So hopefully next week, I don't have any plans for next week yet. I just think don't come up where I'm not able to join.
That's okay.
All right, ladies. So
all right. Take care.
Carrie, are you there? Are you okay? Carrie, you're muted. Are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm about to have my dinner, so I didn't want to chew and munch and down the mic.
That's all right. Afia, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the thoughts. Oh, I don't even know what to think because these things are very, very, very touchy topic for different people. And you're mute, Fari.
Sorry, I was saying it's about your own perspective of loneliness, really. Not generally. Like those moments when you feel lonely, what are your thoughts and what do you do to cope with it?
Yeah. 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 It's loneliness. It's not nice because sometimes you're even living with somebody and you still feel lonely if you're not corresponding with each other well.
Yeah.
I have to mind what I'm saying. Downstairs. He's going to Alison to house it for Alison.
Who?
Tony.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me personally, one thing that I learned to do the times that I feel lonely is to take it to my hobbies and And I'm actually very glad that I have pursued my hobby, explored my hobbies to the point where it's something that I automatically turn to when I'm feeling kind of lonely, or when I'm
Yeah.
feeling kind of down, or when I feel lonely and I know I'm not to people that
Yeah.
I engage with to make me feel better. I tap into my hobbies. I love taking photography. I love nature. So I can go for a drive, and I just, Google is very powerful, a very powerful tool if you know how to use it. So I will go on Google and just search whatever thing I feel like I want to do
Yeah.
near me, and it will give you a list of related things that are going on near where you are. And you can either engage with that or participate in that with other people who are doing it on the same day, or you can venture out on it by yourself. Uh,
Yeah.
the other day, I think, I don't know if you saw the video that I did about Cardiff Castle. I went to see the castle, and in the process, I ended up having conversations with different people there, because just by virtue of being in an interesting place, you get to meet interesting people who are also interested in similar things. And if it's something that I'm doing in the house, some of the
Yeah.
stuff that I do is crafts. And the good thing about that is you can also make a bit of money out of it. Once you've perfected your niche in the crafts area, you can make things that actually people will like and will pay money for. And so in the process, you are not just tackling your loneliness, you're also creating a side hustle. So I do crafts and I write poetry. I don't know why I'm kind of shy sharing my poetry, but I think it's because the sort of things that I talk about in my poetry is mostly intense things and sensitive topics and stuff like that. So I tend to write, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
when it's an occasion or a period that's centered on the sort of things that I'm touching on, that's when I share these poems, because then they're relevant. Like I was saying right now with Black History Month, I can start sharing stuff on my social media about the sensitive stuff,
Yeah.
or I can share my poetry about my experience of domestic abuse and stuff like how I coped with it, or how I managed it, or how I got out of it, and stuff like that. But generally speaking, those are topics that you don't just put out there randomly. Or maybe it's me that's not comfortable putting them out there randomly. I don't know. And lately I'm exploring cooking.
All right.
Yeah, I'm exploring cooking dishes that are not just Zimbabwean. Um, I just go on YouTube and I guess that's also another good thing about living alone. You don't need a lot of bulk ingredients, so it's not too expensive. I just get the little bits of ingredients that I need in small amounts and explore a recipe that I find interesting. Um, like the other day, I made Ghanaian okra soup,
Onion. Yeah.
but then I gave it a twist. I was experimenting, really. I gave it a twist because then I added pumpkin leaves into it. And it
Okay.
was tasty. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I'm not messing up this recipe. And then I'll have to start afresh. I'll have to start cooking something that I can eat. But when I tasted, it was so tasty. And my friend then called me and I said, oh, come and try what. And she said, oh, I'm with my auntie today. And I said, yeah, you can both come. And I said to her, but this was like an experiment. I hope your auntie won't mind trying food that I've experimented. That was on Tuesday. Tuesday. And my friend says, oh, she keeps talking about that okra. She was asking for the recipe. I'm like, I don't have a recipe. I was experimenting.
You're surprised to see sometimes what you come up with, how people like it, and you were killing yourself and saying, "Oh, it's not good."
Yeah, yeah. And it was really nice to hear somebody saying, oh, that's so nice. So that's recipe.
That's good.
I'm writing whatever recipe I try. If I like it, I'm writing it in this little
Write it
book.
down. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess in a way I could actually end up doing a cook,
Yeah.
and I'll call it Explore Food. Yeah, so for me, those are the three main ways that I cope with loneliness, with isolation,
Yeah.
and
I
with
just
mood.
yeah. If I'm on my own, I just stay in because I don't want to go out on my own, so I don't go anywhere.
Oh, I've learned to go places on my own because I'm that kind of person who, if I stay indoors too long, I start to get depressed.
Yeah,
Because when I'm inside the house, not not really doing something engaging, my mind is what starts to work extra time. I start to think things that I shouldn't really be thinking. I start thinking nonsense. I start dwelling on negative things instead of positive things. So I have had to learn to put myself out there, to push myself to go out, even if it's just for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And the surprising thing, to be honest, is you will find that somebody else is out there looking for a little engagement with someone, because I have noticed that sometimes you just smile at someone and they start talking.
hmm,
And to me, it shows that everybody needs a little bit of attention.
that's
And we're
true.
not always able to get it in our own houses,
No,
especially alone. So when you go out there, sometimes a smile becomes a conversation starter, or a wave,
that's true.
or offering to give someone a hand. Little things like that can start a conversation, and that can actually end up starting a friendship. I don't think it's healthy to become too comfortable being alone.
Being alone, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
And one thing I know is a lot of people have ended up uh, drinking because they are spending too much time alone and not liking it, but then not sharing their struggle with somebody. So they end up looking for coping
Oh
mechanisms.
yeah,
And a lot of times the coping mechanisms
either
they
either drinking or smoking.
yeah, drinking or smoking, or sometimes even uh, doing drugs, just to, you hear people use words like, I was just trying to numb feeling,
Yeah,
the next feeling that I was having, or I was trying to make myself feel happy. You don't
Or
always
when
have.
you, that's the thing. When you start and you find that numbing, that's whatever you're using numbs it. you, you go for that stuff every time.
Mm. Sorry,
so
Carrie.
I'm not like getting through the day.
Hey?
I've also heard people say they use drugs or alcohol or sex to get through the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And I can assure you, the time when I was in Wolverhampton and I was feeling really down, you wake up in the morning and you look around you and you think, oh my God, it's only 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
How am I gonna feel in 8 or 10 or 12 hours before I go to sleep again? And like in the last week or so when I couldn't sleep at all, then night comes and you can't sleep and you're thinking, oh my God, can this night end so daytime can come? And you find daytime comes and you don't really have a plan. It just becomes a vicious cycle. And that's how people start grabbing at straws, looking for the easiest, quickest, uh, feel good thing. And
Spending
yeah,
money on and things like that is another coping tool as well.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
shopping, you'd spend hours online shopping, and then at the end of it, you realise you've got a bill that you can't really afford, but you buy it anyway.
Mm. Yeah, some people have ended up in so much debt just trying to soothe the aching feeling of loneliness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I
Some
was,
people don't know how to confront it or how to seek
yeah,
advice or how to seek friendship.
yeah.
Mhm.
And this is why you find I'm always on my social medias, I'm always encouraging people, speak out, talk to somebody, text somebody, call somebody, engage with somebody, even if it's not 20, 30 people, have one person that you know. If I'm feeling like this, if I text them, they will respond. If I call them, they will answer. And
Mhm.
even if they miss my call, they will call me back. You
They
only
call
need
you
one person at the very minimum, at the very basic. You only need one person, which is why I initially talked about the buddy system. Have somebody that you know has got my back. And I'm always saying,
back.
I've got your back.
But
If I,
the body system, people are bodied up, not on the group and stuff like that. So
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't know how to keep in contact with them because maybe they don't want to be disturbed or you don't.
Well, the only way you can know is by contacting them.
Yeah.
Well, you can't just sit there and think maybe, maybe, maybe. That is one
Yeah,
way you
you're right.
end up
Yeah, yeah.
isolated. That's one way you end up
And
isolated.
sometimes you check to find out if they're okay, and it's not reciprocated, so there is not much you can do.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
make attempts and they're not responded to, yes, you can try someone else. You can. That's why I'm saying at the very minimum, have at least one person that you know will respond. And when you're having a conversation with somebody that you want, let's say you've established a kind of rapport, like with you two ladies, I have a very good degree of rapport with you guys. And um, I'm open with you guys. When I'm feeling down, I you two people, you are two people that I know. I can tell anything, anytime.
Yeah.
And for me, that is a powerful source of comfort. Some people will tell you, oh, that's what family is for. Family
Right.
don't always understand you. One thing I've experienced is that family have a lot of expectations on each other. And some of the expectations are not realistic.
Yeah, that's true.
For family members, once you've done something and you've done it well, they literally just conclude it's a permanent arrangement. It's now an obligation and it will never change. When in actual fact, today, some of the things that I'm able to do for you today for you to today, for example, tomorrow I might wake up and I'm not able to do it. And I find telling my friends things like that, they are more acknowledging of it, more accepting of it, and more willing to walk the journey with me with it than my family. Because all they think is, well, if you could do it yesterday, you can do it today and you should continue doing it. But they don't know maybe that somebody upset me this morning. So I'm really not feeling up to doing what you want me to do now. A lot of family members don't have that. And I don't think they do it like to intentionally corner you. It's just a pattern. We don't, mostly we don't have these open conversations with family members because we tend to have this competitiveness within a family, which is not healthy.
Yeah.
And by that, I'm not saying every family is like that, actually. Some families
No.
are communicators. The person that I swapped with flat was telling me that she has 5 sisters, I think, and a brother. And one thing they have agreed to do is to have a video call once every week.
Okay.
Talk about anything, like they'll have a drink, each one will have a drink, and they do it like as if they are wining and dining in a restaurant, but they're each one in his or her own place, and they just
Do
have
by
a chat
video
like,
call.
yeah, have a chat like you would do if you had gone to a restaurant together. And the day that I came to view the flat, when I arrived, they were on that video thing. And she was like, "Are you okay with me telling my family why I've got to drop off in a few minutes?" And she invited me into that video. And I thought that was actually a nice thing.
Yeah, very nice thing.
Mm. And I sat in the background. I looked around. She gave me permission to look around the flat while she finished off the video. And I could hear the banter and the laughter, and the reminiscing and stuff like that. I was like, oh, wow, that's actually quite interesting. I guess that's one way family can bond.
Yeah, if you can't there in person, in physically, this technology allows you to keep in touch,
Yeah,
even by
yeah,
phone call.
yeah. I quite admired it, and I'm trying to get my family to be involved like that. But in Zimbabwe, reception is very bad. Africa reception is very bad. So what we've
Uh,
ended up doing is it's not video, it's just a group call that we do on
Mhm.
WhatsApp.
That's good.
And I'm actually learning quite a few things about my siblings that I didn't even know. Yeah. Anyway, Carrie, have you got anything to share?
uh, Nina, or in anything general?
Yeah.
Um, feeling quite when I was living in my flat. I was kind of isolated away from my family because I moved from Wolverhampton to Bilston. I know it's not like a million miles away, but it still felt like a million miles away. And I just remember like thinking to myself, I should be happy now that I've got my own place, my own flat, and I should be grateful for all these things. But I just couldn't feel it because I was just
Mm.
so lonely. And that's the thing, when you're lonely, you don't appreciate what you do have.
Yeah.
What's true?
But then saying that, I wasn't in the nicest of areas where I was living. The neighbours were all troublemakers and stuff. So it probably did make me feel even more isolated from my family. I think
Yeah.
you need to be in a safe environment, really, don't you?
Yeah, true. Yeah, the transition time, the transition period can be tricky. And I think the same thought process I mentioned earlier about getting away from an abusive relationship, it also applies to getting away from an environment you feel is not suitable. Um, I think you always have to or need to think things through. How am I going to cope with this? How am I mean, for like me, for example, moving here, I I think the bigger picture for me was I need to get away from where I am because it's become that toxic for me to the extent that I was like, I'm willing to move to anywhere.
Yeah,
And I almost moved to Telford. And like now when I reflect, I'm thinking, I didn't actually really know anybody in Telford. And I
no,
probably would have ended up really even more isolated. I mean, as
yeah,
much as Wolverhampton, where I was living, had become really toxic, I at least had people that I knew that I could connect with. There was you, Kerry, there was Rakia, there was everybody at WOW. So as much as my specific place of abode had become toxic, I still had connections around me. But in
yeah,
Telford, I've had to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And that
yeah,
would have been a challenge because I think I would probably have then started thinking after moving everything, thinking, so where do I start?
yeah,
So in a way, that woman changing her mind was kind of a good thing
Yeah.
because here I moved the very day that I moved. My friend was here, my cousin was here, and since then, um, my friend's family, they pop in now and again because they're only 10 minutes away. Their sons came to sort out the stuff that I can't, and she comes in, I go to hers. So the loneliness there is the loneliness bit is not there. And the feeling like, oh, I've moved but I'm not feeling this place. I haven't been placed in that position because it feels like I've been here way longer than I've actually been here because people have
yeah,
been in and out. I've actually seen more people in my flat than I did when I was in Wolverhampton.
yeah,
Yeah. I have neighbors that are really good. The first 3, 4 weeks, we're in the fourth week now. They've been checking. Do you have everything? If you can't find anything, let me know. If you can, I go outside and they're all offering to help. And that's kind of new. I hardly spoke to my neighbors in Bilston. I only knew,
yeah,
how are you? Good morning, good afternoon. And that's if we bump into each other. And we never even went into each other's houses.
no,
And things like that make a difference. Having a
Yes, it
neighbor
does.
you can talk to makes a great difference.
Yes, it does. I think today I'm gonna cut it short because I've been packing, packing.
Oh yeah, by
And
the way.
you understand what it is with packing.
Trust me, I do. Oh
And
gosh.
yeah, at the moment I'm cooking something to take with me to work.
Okay.
So
I think because there's only the three of us, we might as well just
yeah.
the 1 hour I think is enough, to be honest.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think,
it
yeah,
was good catching.
Yeah.
Eh?
It's been lovely chatting to you both.
Oh, yes. And Kerry, I haven't seen you for a while, so it's lovely to see you today. I hope everything is going well for you.
Yeah. Say hi to your mom, Kerry.
Say hello to her. Find her for you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. She's cooking dinner at the moment.
Ooh. Enjoy. We will catch up on the phone as usual.
All right, yeah. Okay then. Yeah. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Tony, yeah.
Yeah?
Say hi to Tony.
I will do, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.